There's 7 days left in 2024. Give God 3. 3 days. Don't know what God will change in your life, in your heart, in your behaviors if you give him 3. But let me tell you about this Bible study, y'all. First off, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Today we are celebrating the one and only King. And although we don't know the exact date that Jesus was born, today is a day that globally people are celebrating our Father. Period. So Merry Christmas. For today's Bible study, we are still on the book of Matthew, and today we're looking at Matthew 25. And when I tell you my spirit was overwhelmed with excitement just reading Matthew 25, I can't even put it into words, but I got to tell you what God revealed to me. Looking at Matthew 25, there are several parables in Matthew 25, and the first one starts off where you have 10 virgins who are about to get married, okay? In this time, it was custom for the groom to come to the bride's house, grab her whole crew, the whole wedding party, go back to the groom's house, and they were going to have a 1-week celebration of their marriage. It's going to be a big feast. They're going to be eating, they're going to be smashing, it's going to be great. I imagine there's going to be some chicken wings somewhere in the vicinity. I don't know. Or at least some apples and grapes. So whatever, let's get into it. In this parable, we have 10 virgins who are about to get married. 5 of them are prepared, 5 of them are not. What I want you to keep in mind during this parable is that through Matthew, Jesus has been reminding us to be prepared for his return. He's been telling us this. So we have these 5 virgins. 5 of them have oil for the night to get through the night, and they have extra oil, right? And then you have 5 who just have the oil in their stash and they don't have anything extra. Then it comes time for them to go meet the groom. So the 5 that had oil to get them through the night and oil for the morning, they're prepared. They're ready to go. And then you have the 5 who didn't bring a backup stash. They weren't ready. They had enough oil for the night. They went to the other brides and said, hey, can you please give me some? And the other brides was like, no, I only got enough for me. They said, go do what you can and go sell and go make some more. So those 5 that weren't prepared, they went seeking for more oil, came back too late, and missed the wedding. They missed the feast. In Matthew chapter 24, we talked about this. We talked about how Jesus was preparing a feast in heaven for us. Eternal life. We talked about the importance of being ready when he comes. Do you see where this parable is going? It's talking about being prepared. What does being prepared look like? Reading your word, building your relationship with God. But the second parable that's discussed gives us even more insight on what it really means to be prepared for when Jesus comes. Y'all, this one. So this is the parable where there was a boss and he had 3 workers. But for each of the workers, he gave them enough resources that they could manage. The first one he gave 5, the second one he gave 2, and the last one he gave 1. In this parable, you already know who God is. He's the boss. We are the workers. This is a reminder that God will only give you what you can handle. In this scenario, the first person who got 5, he went out, he grinded. He came back with 10. He came back with more. He came back with fruit. The second one, he had 2. He left and he came back with more. He came back with fruit. The last one, he had 1. And instead of going and coming back with more, coming back with fruit, he took his 1 and he dug it in the ground. He took his resources and he dug it in the ground. He hid it out of fear. And he came back with just that 1. He didn't come back with fruit. Is that God gives us the resources that we need to navigate this world. He gives us everything that we need. We have to tap into it. And a lot of us operate in fear, just like that third person who had the 1 resource. We operate in fear and we take it and we hide it underground. Is God calling you to start that podcast? Is God calling you to start talking on your TikTok channel about God and about faith? Is God calling you to start that YouTube channel? Is God calling you to start that business or write that book? Is God calling you to go mentor a young child that you've seen before that you know needs help, but you're scared? What is God calling you to do? This is why these 3 days are so important, because we're laying down things for God in an intention to get closer to him, an intention to read his word, fast from something, fast from anything, to devote 3 days to your Father. He can unveil to you what he's calling you to do. What is he calling you to do? What is the resources you have to complete it? What is your Father telling you? As we go to that very last parable in Matthew chapter 25, it literally just hits the nail on the head. Last one that we're looking at, if you look at Matthew chapter 25, verses 31 through 46, it is talking about Jesus judging us. And in this situation, Jesus says, what did you do for me? Opportunity for us to reflect. What did we do for him? And he says, if you've done anything for the least of me, then you've helped me. What is he talking about? He's talking about, have you been there for other people? Have you served other people? Have you clothed other people? Have you done any of that for him? And if you have, you've done it for Jesus. And if you have not, then you have not done it for him. At Matthew 25, it tells you already, God is confirming to you, I've already got you the resources. So it's not about having the resources. It's not about having a whole bunch of money in your pocket to go be nice to somebody. It's not about having wads of cash to go donate to a charity. It's not about that. It's about, are you seeing homeless people on the street and offering them a meal, offering them some clothes, offering them anything? Are you seeing someone who is in need of prayer and going to them and praying for them? Are you operating the way that Jesus would have operated right now? And if you're not, it's okay. I got you. Let's talk about it. These parables put so much into perspective about what God is calling us to do. And my study Bible, y'all, just puts a bow on it. Let me read it to you. It's told the following parables to clarify further how his followers should be ready for his return and how to live until then. The story of the 10 bridesmaids teaches that every person is responsible for his or own spiritual condition. The story of the 3 servants shows the necessity of being good stewards of the resources God has entrusted to us. The parable of the sheep and goats stresses the importance of serving others in need. No parable by itself completely describes our preparation. Instead, each one paints a part of the whole picture. So this may not be for everybody, but if it's for you, I want you to listen up clearly. Sis, brother, we have 7 days until the new year. Give God 3. And during those 3 days, I want you to be really intentional. Number 1 is I want you to talk to your Father. I want you to pray before you start the fast. I want you to pray throughout every day of the fast. I want you to pray with intention. I want you to read his word, give him time. Okay? So pray, read his word. Pray without ceasing, read his word. That's 2 things. Number 3, during this fast, I want you to give up something for God. Something that's hard, nothing that's easy, something that's hard for you, give it up for God. Is it social media? Is it sweets? Is it eating during a certain window of time? Whatever it is, pray about it. Let it be what you decide to do. There's several different fast options. If you want something a little bit more structured, you can look up the Daniel's fast. If you Google it, it gives you everything that you can and cannot eat. All that information is there. But intentionally give up something for your relationship with God. I promise you, it is going to be so amazing to just give God 3 intentional days. Number 1 is you're going to pray and talk to your Father before you start it, and during the fast, pray without ceasing. Number 2, you're going to read his word. Number 3, you're going to give up something during those 3 days, intentionally, something that's not easy, something that is a challenge for you. You're going to give it up for God. And then last but not least, number 4, I want you to be very intentional about how you operate during these 3 days. When we're looking at these parables, think about the resources that God gives you. And you can even pray about that. God, you've given me the resource of talking, the resource of gabbing. You've given me a platform. You've given me this and this and this. How do you want me to use it? Ask God those questions. Ask him those questions. Be intentional about serving other people. Be intentional about serving, and not just to post it online. Like, be intentional. If you are someone who you don't necessarily always think about the homeless people, make an intention to go visit the homeless. Make an intention to write a prisoner with a Bible verse and give them some encouragement. Do something that shows that you are a lover of God and that you're willing to share this world with anyone else and his goodness with anyone else. 3 days, I want you to be focused on doing everything that God is calling you to do. And the only way to do that is if you are speaking to him. Read his word, talk to your Father, be intentional. These 3 days could change the trajectory of your life. And you know what? It could also bring someone closer to him, which is our goal. So let me know. Are you guys joining? Are you doing 3 days? You have 7 days before the year's up. Pick 3 and give it to him. And I will see you tomorrow in Matthew chapter 26. Bye, y'all.